Of the University of Maryland in College Park. Welcome to College Park, everyone, and a Happy New Year to you for 1982 from all of us here at Metro Sports. I'm Jim Thacker with Billy Packer, and Bill, what a Metro Sports doubleheader we have tonight. The two top-ranked teams in the country right here in the nation's capital area.
And against some real tough opponents from a standpoint of teams hard to play on these kind of courts.
Maryland, of course, hosting North Carolina, the #1 team, and #2 Virginia. Later tonight, will be taking on another team across town at Landover.
And they're playing, of course, Notre Dame, and Digger Phelps is the kind of guy that likes to put together a specific game plan to knock off big people, as was the case in the Kentucky game.
Bill, North Carolina's had a great December. This will be their first conference action. Maryland's struggling a little bit.
Well, I think that North Carolina's play in December, Jim, considering the schedule and the difficulty of that schedule, is the finest December of any team I can remember in modern basketball history. As far as Maryland's concerned, there's no question about it. Their club's in a lot of trouble. They do not have the talent they've had in years past, and I really don't know whether they can hold the ball or not. That's something they might try to do tonight.
All right, we'll see how Left Team has them prepared, and we'll be back for our scouting report for tonight's game in just a moment after this message.
All right, very still, very still.
Over that Kentucky game, but they have been awesome inside, and James Worthy is one of the reasons, of course.
How's he look to you?
Well, I think he's certainly one of the premier power forwards in the United States, handles the ball so well, really doesn't have any weakness in his game at all, and obviously he's recovered from that big injury he suffered 2 years ago.
You say the key for Maryland is controlling the tempo. Does that mean Reggie Jackson has things on his shoulders?
Well, that's very possible, Jim. Lefty likes to run. Lefty likes to play man-to-man, but this club is not the kind of club that's going to be able to do that with any degree this year. So a guy like Reggie with his experience, his ball handling ability, could be a real key factor in that situation.
All right, it'll be the kickoff for ACC action for the Tar Heels, and the opening lineups will be coming next in just a moment after this message.
One forward position, Matt Doherty. And a forward spot for the University of Maryland, Adrian Branch. At the other forward spot for Carolina, James Worthy. And for Maryland, Herman Beal. At the center position for North Carolina, Sam Perkins. In the University of Maryland, Charlie Pittman. At one of the guard spots, freshman Michael Jordan. The other guard spot, a freshman Jeff Atkins. The other guard position for North Carolina, Jimmy Black. And for Maryland, Reggie Jackson. University of North Carolina, coached by Dean Smith. Maryland by Lefty Driesell.
We'll be back with the start of tonight's game after this message. Perkins at 6'9", Matt Doherty at 6'8" on the front line. There's their opening lineup. Jimmy Black, the playmaker at point guard. Jordan is listed the guard, will play more like a forward, and Doherty will play more like a guard. For the University of Maryland, they'll have the sensational freshman Adrian Branch at one forward at 6'8", and Charlie Pittman at 6'8" in the center. That represents their height. Beal's only 6'6". Jackson will be joined by Jeff Atkins, a high school All-American out of Martinsville, Virginia, at the guard spot as Driesell tries to get some scoring punch. David Dodge, Joe Forte, and Larry Limbaugh assigned here by the Atlantic Coast Conference as the officials tonight. And you think maybe Maryland's chance may stand in trying to keep the running down a little bit, Bill?
Well, they might do that, but of course with a fella like Morley, you would assume that not starting, you would assume Maryland's going to come out and try to run with the game a little bit. Morley would be the guy in the ballgame if they're going to really slow things down.
Loose ball run down by Doherty. North Carolina, the visiting team, will attack first here against Maryland in a man-for-man. Worthy on the inside, hooking in close. What a play by James Worthy to get it started.
I think the Tar Heels smile anytime they see somebody go straight man-to-man against them, because Worthy and Perkins inside are something special.
Branch driving, and he draws the foul, blocking underneath by Michael Jordan, a freshman for North Carolina. So there's the first personal foul of the ball game against Jordan.
Jim, this fella right here is one of the truly gifted young players in America, Adrian Branch. Pretty good block by Doherty from behind. I'm amazed that he got that ball, but there was, of course, a foul on Jimmy Black. As long as Adrian starts going to the basket like that, it's going to make him doubly tough because he has a good outside shot.
Comes out of the great DeMatha School here in Hyattsville, not too far from the campus at College Park. And he's only 18 years old, Bill, so he has a lot of time to get better, and I'm sure he will. First point for Maryland. 2-1, North Carolina in the lead. Maryland pressing a little bit in backcourt with Jeff Adkins.
That spreads the game out even more. Lefty may be taking the tack that Carolina does not want to go all the way down on the bench. He may want to go ahead and force them to really work hard offensively early in the ball game.
They want to get it inside to Perkins or Worthy. That's Perkins.
Fields got his hands full with Worthy in there.
Perkins. And a good rebound pulled down by Adrian Branch. Here comes the freshman for University of Maryland. Stolen away by Michael Jordan. Two of the fine freshmen involved in that play of the Atlantic Coast Conference season is underway for the nation's top-ranked team. 2-1, North Carolina in the lead. Still man for Maryland.
I look for him to go into Worthy consistently right now with this matchup at Veal.
Here's Perkins on the inside against Pittman. Driving Jordan. Dishes off to Perkins.
Fadeaway jumper by a 6'11" center.
4-1. North Carolina goes to a 3-point lead. Tar Heels matching up man for man as they usually do. They got Doherty here assigned to Branch.
You notice, Jim, how Perkins is going out much farther this year, much more comfortable defensively, going out and playing his man, trying to force that ball to be moving.
Maryland, of course, in their gold uniforms. They went to it as a maneuver last year, and it paid off for them. They won a couple of big games. Last time, of course, in the conference tournament, they pulled off a big win over Virginia. But it didn't work the last time they wore them.
No, it really didn't, Jim. And, of course, you've got a screen there by Jackson inside. That really hurts you when you're Maryland because they've got to get some shots off.
First foul against Maryland. North Carolina here's won 6 out of the last 7, but Dean Smith recalled one big loss the Tar Heels suffered in 1959 when they came in here, the top-ranked team in the country as they are tonight, and they were upset by Maryland. Then coached by Bud Milliken. Turnover as here comes Jackson dishing it off to Atkins.
Good fast break by the University of Maryland. Really heads-up play defensively by Veal. Inside as he cut off the passing lane.
4-3. That turns on the crowd here, which is over 12,000 for this game.
Maybe those yellow uniforms, Jim, or gold. I don't know what really color you can call it.
Backdoor Jordan draws the foul on Branch. Boy, Jordan really pulled the string on his man on the far side. You really can't fault Branch that much because he tried to switch off his man to pick up Jordan, but Jordan made a nifty move on the baseline.
Michael Jordan adds so much versatility to this lineup. A great one-on-one player. You saw a super backdoor move there. He really comes down hard. Might have been fortunate to hit Branch's leg a little bit coming down there to break the fall. The kid can shoot outside. He's a great driver with the ball. He's a team player. Has understood the concept at North Carolina and very quickly sure to be an All-American player before he gets out of there.
He's been working on his defense, which is steadily improving. He's hitting almost 58% from the field. How many great athletes could you name out of Wilmington, North Carolina? Well, that town's produced them.
Full court pressure, Jim.
Yep.
Full court zone.
Branch is able to get by Jimmy Black, and Maryland has it over the timeline. Now Maryland, North Carolina drops back in a 2-3 zone, or 2-1-2.
I think they want to see what Lefty's going to do. Is Lefty going to play against the zone, or is he going to hold the ball back out? Obviously, he has to
play.
He has to play, but he does not have to shoot.
He's trailing by 2 points, so Maryland has to initiate the action. So North Carolina's drop back in the zone. They'll try to test the outside shooting. And if they're going to go outside, they will want number 10 on the far side, Jeff Adkins, perhaps to take the shot. And Pittman draws the foul on Black, and now Black violates a little bit of the theory there of the tight zone coming out.
Well, they were just ready to switch back to man-to-man, Jim, and as they had made their adjustments from the inside, everybody kind of goes back inside and then goes out and picks up their man. He was going to go and get in a man-to-man situation.
Armand Beal trigger again, got off to a great start this year. They're in the man-for-man right now, a little bit of pressure. Here's where they're tough, and the man spins his dribble. That was tapped in the backcourt by Jimmy Black. That's why Jeff Adkins can go back and get it from Maryland without a violation. 5-3, North Carolina leads.
You've got to keep your dribble alive. When you're playing against a defense, it's going to overplay you as much as Carolina does. And
a reach-in foul by Matt Doherty, number 44. Third team foul against the Tar Heels. Number 1 on Doherty. Our underrated player, Bill. 6'8", starts at forward, but plays like a guard.
I really have to question that 6'8", but I don't have to question at all what you said, Jim. He's a very underrated basketball player. That 6'8" figure has come out of the woodwork somewhere. I think he's about, looks to me to be about 6'6", 6'6 and a half, but he really knows how to play the game.
2-point lead by North Carolina. They're the overwhelming favorite. All alone, Jackson for a layup. Why did he fool the defense and slip in from somewhere?
What North Carolina tried to do there was double team out front. They made the quick double team jump, and it didn't work because Jackson was smart enough to move without the ball.
Score tie for the first time at 5. We played 4 minutes here in the first half in Cole Fieldhouse. Nation's #1 ranked team. North Carolina undefeated in 9 games. Worthy checked off by Veal. Worthy wants it back. There goes Worthy, little short hook. No way to defense that.
Jim, school's out on that matchup. If they get the ball to Worthy, Veal is playing right behind him, and James, of course, is awesome when he gets the ball down that low. I look for North Carolina to really go back to him. Here's the double team trap.
Veal 6'6", Worthy 6'9". 7-5, North Carolina by 2. Branch walks. That'll turn it over to North Carolina. And with 15 minutes and 19 seconds to go in the first half from College Park, Maryland, with the score, North Carolina 7. To the game are granted by the Atlantic Coast Conference to Metro Communications Incorporated. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without written consent is prohibited. The announcers on this telecast have been hired and are paid by Metro Communications Incorporated in consultation with the Atlantic Coast Conference. We played a little less than 5 minutes the first half. Outstanding crowd here of over 12,000 at Cole Fieldhouse. The University of North Carolina brings in the nation's top ranking in both major polls, #1 against Maryland, a team that has been soundly trounced twice, UCLA and by North Carolina State.
Let's see if they go to Worthy early.
Right now he's away from the basket here, being hard by Veal. There's a great drive by Perkins. And a push no.
No, he was walking, Jim, and what was so tough, Sam was so wide open that he took a little step and really lost the handle on the ball. Good call by the officials.
Maryland will look to tie it again now. They're trailing by 2. We've gone exactly 5 minutes in the first half. 15 minutes to go. Double teaming here on the trap, and Pittman beats him off to Veal. Blocked inside by Worthy, and up it goes by Pittman, taken away without a jump. A jump ball situation, that is. The ball will go out of bounds, of course, the University of Maryland. North Carolina control the opening tap, and under the new rule of all college basketball, a rule the ACC's had for a couple of years, they alternate possession on the jump ball or tie ball situations.
Jim, most of the officials, coaches, and players alike think that by next year they're going to change that rule, that the defense will get the ball.
Good job by Pittman to run down the ball.
Had 2 sensational blocks, one by Worthy, and then, of course, that one by Sam Perkins. Both guys have great leaping ability inside.
Of course, Maryland was stripped of their great team by graduation or other losses from last year. And they come back to build around Pittman. And a backcourt that really doesn't have much scoring punch. Backdoor Reggie Jackson, and Doherty was anticipating the play. Here comes North Carolina in the break. Jimmy Black. Perkins will take it, about 18-footer.
That's some kind of play to hit from outside. What North Carolina is doing right now, Jim, they're trying to force the man with the ball as opposed to playing him straight up man-to-man. They're trying to force him down in the corner so they can go ahead and get double team. See what Jordan did? Now the double team situation develops.
Run him into a double team. That was a foul on James Worthy. Got switched off somehow on the guard Reggie Jackson. First foul on Worthy, team foul number 4 against North Carolina. 9-5, the Tar Heels' biggest lead of 4 points with 13:53 to go in the first half.
North Carolina staying man-to-man out of bounds. Now there's Jordan again, trying to force Atkins into a trap down inside, giving him the baseline. Jimmy Black doing the same thing. They try to steer their men into double team situations.
Pittman lost his dribble. Backdoor cut by Jackson. Good switch by Doherty to cut off the baseline. 9-5, North Carolina leads. Now they're playing very high, Bill. We may see some backdoor movement here.
Well, of course you're going to see backdoor movement, which is what you've got to do, but North Carolina doing a good job weak side defensively. Doherty is so smart in anticipation that they fill the hole real quickly.
There goes Brandt sweeping around. Kept alive by Pittman, but pulled up by Perkins. Here comes North Carolina. There's Michael Jordan.
One of these times he's going to bite his tongue off. If you notice, he always has his tongue out when he's running down the court.
He can bite off a lot of other things, too. A lot of action. Here comes Doherty. Whistles a pass inside. Knocked down by Pittman, and Jackson on the break. High arch.
Oh,
Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson only shooting about 35% so far this year. That was a very smart move to pull up and take the jumper.
103rd consecutive game for Reggie Jackson play, University of Maryland. 9-7. That cuts it to 2. North Carolina on top. Same type of movement here against Maryland's man for man. Perkins hooked to the baseline. Rebound. Hauled in inside by Branch. You can tell Maryland just by instinct, Bill, they want to run, but it's just not there this year.
Playing a pretty smart game so far tonight. They have not been awed by North Carolina's reputation. They're being very solid in their offensive patterns, even though North Carolina so far has thrown about 4 different defenses at them.
Well, they weathered that little storm of trapping pretty well.
Very unusual to play a team that plays such an unorthodox defense as this, because it's counter to what most people try to do. They just don't give you the baseline.
Here's Branch inside on Worthy, gets around him, but it's partially blocked, and Perkins pulls it down. North Carolina on the move. Doherty had beaten everyone down court. They didn't see him in time. 9-7 North Carolina. Perkins hooking up inside. No defense for that one. A sky hook by Perkins and sends North Carolina back on top by 4, 11-7.
Lefty hollering at Pittman, telling him not to let him handle the ball inside, because obviously once it gets in there, it's curtains.
Well, it's very dangerous to front him too, Bill. Here goes Branch. Foul from behind by Doherty. Doherty is very adept at trailing a player and being able to block the ball. But that time he got part of the arm, picked up his 2nd personal foul. That's going to bring Jeb Barlow in the lineup as a substitute. See,
Branch beats Doherty, uses the double screen very well. And there's what you're talking about, Jim, coming back from behind. He got the ball. The hand's supposed to be part of the ball. I got to question that call a little bit. The key thing, though, is that that's not what you would consider normally to be solid defense. But from a team concept, the way North Carolina plays, it works very well.
Adrian Branch, who probably was able to take a city bus over here to visit the campus, might have been able to walk from nearby Hyattsville, actually Largo, Maryland, but he went to DeMatha. Only the 2nd DeMatha player that was recruited by Lefty Driesell, the first being Dutch Morley, also a member of this team. That's the 2nd point tonight by Branch. Brought him in here to take over the spot that was played so well by Albert King.
The tempo of the game right now is in Maryland's favor. They've been able to withstand one of those early blitzes as hit them in the UCLA game.
11-9. Maryland has just cut it to 2 with 11-12 to go in the first half, and we'll be back with more ACC basketball after these messages from your local station.
Independent Network News.
Cruz never lets his team get over as a confident, does he, Bill?
Well, I think Dean is a master psychologist, and of course he said Maryland has the talent. They do not have the talent they've had in the past, not to disagree with the brilliant coach, but I think that their experience and the way they're playing tonight has really helped them a great deal.
Bill Guthridge has been his assistant now for 15 years. There's Eddie Foger, who played for him, to his left, also on the staff. 11-9, North Carolina by 2. A little mild passive pressure in backcourt here by Maryland. Isn't affecting the game. Perkins will bring it over. And now Black will set the action against Maryland's man for man. Let's see if they go to Worthy, still being guarded by Herman Beal. There's Jimmy Braddock, who's come in with Barlow. This is Barlow, who replaced Doherty. Maryland playing pressure man. North Carolina with their shuffle passing work, looking for Worthy.
Maryland doing a good job defensively. North Carolina, a very smart team, not panicking and putting up any bad shots.
Here's Worthy on the turnaround. 6 field goals for North Carolina. They're both, all 6 by Worthy and Perkins, 3 apiece, and it's 13-9, Tar Heels by 4.
He's going to give Veal a real lesson defensively tonight. He's, of course, tough for anybody to guard, but more than
there goes Branch on a great move. Braddock tried to draw the charge, but Branch got off the shot. 13-11, Maryland back within 2. Perkins cutting against the man for man. Rebound pulled down by Reggie Jackson with North Carolina up by a pair, 13-11. There's the shooting thus far. North Carolina's almost double the percentage. Here comes Beal working inside. Little short, and Worthy reels out of there with it onto the break with his team up by 2. Stolen by Reggie Jackson. Jackson, right side. Branch,
nice layup.
Beautiful drive by Adrian Branch to tie the score at 13 apiece.
You see the official, of course, telling Baldwin not to touch that ball when it comes out of the basket. But a great play that time by Adrian Branch, filling the lane. Jackson doing a good job on the break again.
And Dean Smith has Michael Jordan and Matt Doherty back into the lineup. Lefty Driesell exhorting his team. Keep it moving here as Maryland's made its most impressive move so far against the top-ranked Tar Heels. We're just past the midway point in the first half, 9:25 to go.
You think he's not a competitor?
I believe it. 22 years and 20 wins a year average. Inside, Michael Jordan spinning.
There was a case where Jackson was there defensively doing a pretty good job. Now, Jordan passed that ball. Let's see if the official is going to give a 2-shot foul. They shouldn't. He actually made a pass on the play, although he went up initially intending to shoot. Now watch this. He actually passes the ball. Wisely, I think the official is going to give the ball out of bounds. Good play.
No free throwing. That might be what Dean Smith is arguing about from his vantage point. They always say head coaches have the worst seats in the house. He may have thought Jordan was going to shoot.
Well, he intended to shoot when he went up in the air, but I think as time goes on, he'll realize when you get fouled, always go for the shot.
Here he is, Michael Jordan, kept alive by Worthy, tipped out by Baldwin.
Chance for the lead.
3-on-2 break. Jackson, right side, good, Beal. And they're going to ask for goaltending. Instead, it's an offensive foul on Beal.
Big turnaround there created by Sam Perkins' block. Now here comes the break. Maryland has been handling their break very well tonight. Jackson on the dish. Here comes Veal. Black holds his ground. Now watch Perkins go up there and get a piece. That ball had come off the glass. Black was there, I think.
Hadn't been for the charge, Bill, it would have been goaltending.
I definitely think so. The ball had hit the glass and was coming on down at an angle, but the foul took place first and, of course, canceled the basket.
Lefty calling, of course, for the goaltending, but the personal foul nullified that. Bad pass over Chris Bruss out of bounds. Turnover to Maryland. Tie score 13-13. Maryland's never led in the game. Twice North Carolina's been up by 4.
Psychologically, Jim, this is a big basket right here for Maryland, for their fans, to get them in a ball game. They've been doing a pretty good job supporting this team so far.
Big possession. Look inside by Jackson.
He needed Baldwin to come and meet the ball. He stayed down on the baseline.
Good job by Doherty on Branch. He isn't getting the ball off, and there he goes on Doherty. Beats him, left-hander. Rebound hauled off by Perkins. North Carolina back in control with a score tied at 13. 8:14 to go in the first half.
Jackson matching up pretty good with Michael Jordan over there. Jackson has the best vertical jump of any of the Maryland players, and he is pretty strong physically, so obviously it's one of the tough guys Jordan has faced.
Perkins trying to go on it for a reverse and do the personal foul. They've got Worthy on the sidelines for a rest. And Perkins was trying to take control and did draw the personal foul.
Dean Smith goes to that bench very liberally, even though they're not as strong a bench as he's had in years past. But he keeps his guys fresh, and they all blend in there fairly well.
That was the second foul against Adrian Branch of the University of Maryland. It'll send Sam Perkins, who has divided the field goals thus far with James Worthy. They have 3 apiece, 6 field goals. Steve Rivers checks in for Maryland for the first time. 6'3" sophomore from Brockville, New York. Brought him here as a point guard, but he's been shifted over to second guard very quick.
His second, team fifth.
And now he'll join Jeff Adkins in backcourt. So it's going to be a young backcourt for Maryland. And Perkins is on the line for 2 for North Carolina.
You see the stats, of course, on Sam Perkins. He does not take a lot of easy shots. So with his shot selection and ability to get that shot off, those are really some stats shooting-wise.
7 points for Perkins, who was the Atlantic Coast Conference Rookie of the Year a year ago. From Latham, New York. 8 points for Perkins. North Carolina back on top by a pair, 15-13. Worthy returns, and with that, Lefty Driesell brings back in Charlie Pittman.
You see Worthy comes in, Perkins goes out. There's Jackson sitting down there. Now that matchup with Jackson on the bench puts either Atkins or Rivers on Jordan to look for Jordan to break loose against that matchup.
Well, Reggie had 3 fouls, Billy. I guess Lefty just figured he couldn't risk the 4th here in the first half. 8 minutes to go in this half.
No, I think what Lefty's saying right now that foul was not on Jackson. Yeah, Lefty's doing a good job right here. The foul was charged against Branch by the PA announcer. Let's see who the official scorer called the foul on, because Jackson should only have 2.
Scoreboard had shown the 3rd on Jackson. And now Eddie Fogler is going to come up and argue North Carolina's case. A foul was on Veal.
Lefty really did a job at the bench that time. Not only was it on Branch, not only was it on Jackson, but came up with Veal, who hadn't had one at all. You saw that graphic, Jim, on Lefty Drizel. Lefty Drizel and Dean Smith in terms of active coaches with winning percentages. When you get up and over that 70% mark, you are really doing the job.
Billy, between them, they've won 872 games. That's 20 years, right?
That is really something. And, of course, in Lefty's case, he did it at more than one school. You've got to give him credit for building 2 programs.
At Davidson. Said it couldn't be done there, and he did it. Fumble by Pittman, and Brust is down to get it, and it's taken away by Jeff Atkins.
Not a good pass by Brust. He should have just kept control of the ball. This is an important percentage.
Maryland needs a basket to tie with 7:20 to go in the first half. It's 15-13. Maryland's been able to stay with top-ranked North Carolina through the first 12.5 minutes.
There's that double team situation.
There goes Branch in close, got the shot, would not go. Worthy whips out the outlet pass to Braddock. North Carolina on the run, leading by 2.
Here's Atkins on Jordan. Now let's see if Jordan doesn't try to use him a little bit.
Worthy on Baldwin, goes around him, got blocked partially in there. Brust gets it back for North Carolina. Good offensive rebound.
Excellent. As I was talking about, the possession of the ball extremely important now, and for Brust, he just wanted to hang it back there for his ball club.
Here goes Worthy. What a move. Rebound on the floor. Jimmy Black will run it down for North Carolina. Oh, they'll get 3 whacks at it here, looks like, with 6.5 minutes to go in the first half. And a 2-point lead, 15-13 over Maryland. That'll go backcourt and a turnover to Maryland. That was off Worthy's fingertips, took his eye off the ball.
I think James was ready to make a backdoor cut to screen away that time, and when he did, of course, the pass was coming. He wasn't ready for it.
Time remaining in the first half, 6:21. There's the score. And with North Carolina leading Maryland 15-13, let's pause for these messages. 1980, 79-80, was able to get in a couple of wins. Perkins on the floor. Excuse me, Bill.
Jim, you notice you mentioned Perkins. You notice how Dean Smith uses Perkins and Worthy to spell each other at what would be considered the center spot. Then he brings them both back together.
Here's the trapping defense again. Great feet inside, but Pittman walked. Boy, Branch did a super job pulling the defense to him and then fed to Pittman. Pittman might have been a little bit too deep for that play.
Well, Pittman should have put the ball on the floor. There was nobody in front of him at all. Here you see, remember earlier in the game, Carolina was shooting in the 70%. Maryland was down in the low 40s, and now it's balancing out a little bit. Carolina really hasn't done a good job getting the ball to Worthy down in low. There's a nice backdoor.
Backdoor Braddock, and there goes Jackson's 3rd foul. So now Reggie may have to sit down. That takes a lot of defense out of the Maryland lineup.
Here Braddock been around a long time at North Carolina, makes the good backdoor cut. Reggie Jackson kind of surprised a little bit. He's normally used to guarding a shooter or a bigger man.
Jeff Atkins will replace Jackson. Atkins started the ball game, had left for Steve Rivers, and now he comes back on. Jimmy Braddock from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Highly recruited when he came out of high school 3 years ago. He's played in 9 games with 14 points and has 16 assists. He usually backs up Jimmy Black at point guard, but he's in there with Black now. 17-13 for the 3rd time. North Carolina has a 4-point lead. Just under 6 minutes, and this could be an important 5.5 minutes for Maryland.
Here's the zone trap coming up right now. Doherty a little slow getting there, but had the right idea.
There goes Branch.
Perkins wanting somebody to come back and take the ball from him. Good job by Atkins.
Super job. Denied the ball, but Black is able to recover it. Got it over the line in time.
Lefty won the call, and I think he'd have had it, but the officials kind of dropped off the count because they figured the ball was getting over half court.
Great job by Jimmy Black to run it down. North Carolina by 4. This is the biggest lead they've had so far. Now they're looking to get it to 6. Worthy is posted on the left side against Veal again.
Black walk, got away with it.
Doherty trying to roll out. Perkins was intended for Worthy. Here goes Perkins, baseline. Perkins hits for his 10th point of the half, and North Carolina leads by 6.
Now, great talent will eliminate some confusion every time. Maryland playing excellent defense on that exchange, and Perkins' ability to hit outside just eliminated everything.
North Carolina back into their double team pressure.
Almost had a triple team situation that time, but with Worthy and Perkins back there patrolling the lane, it's hard to get anything cheap.
Steve Rivers now with Braddock laying off him a little bit. Branch, who sometimes has a tendency to play out of control, has stayed pretty much in the discipline tonight. Here goes Atkins, blocked by Perkins. Loose ball comes to Worthy. North Carolina's got it leading by 4 at 9, or by 6 at 19-13. About 4 minutes to go in the first half.
North Carolina really a patient team, aren't they, Jim? They just relax out there with the ball, threw that one away.
Bad pass. Here goes Atkins driving. Rebound, Worthy fouls over the shoulder. James Worthy. Second foul by Worthy. North Carolina played Atkins pretty well, forced him to take sort of an off-balance shot, but Worthy, in reaching for the rebound, guilty of fouling. His second. Worthy seems to get so many touch fouls called against him, Bill.
He was up so high in that particular rebound.
We'll be back with more ACC basketball after these messages.
Club playing a much smarter game tonight. They're taking care of the ball when they have it. Their defense is much tougher and more tenacious. Their shot selection much better.
That was off the fingers of Steve Rivers. No, says the official. It was Michael Jordan. So it's still going to be Maryland's ball. I think in the UCLA game, they got blitzed at the very outset. That also changes, though.
Well, they came down in that ball game and just threw up shots. Not any rhyme or reason to them. Got in a lot of trouble. There's that weak side defense.
Pass. Good hustle by Herman Veal. Gets it back for Maryland. Maryland desperate needs for a basket right here. They're trailing by 6. Under 4 minutes to go in the first half. Rivers in trouble on the double team.
They all go baseline and pick up their dribble. If they're going baseline, they might as well take it down there, keep the dribble alive, go up for the jumper, or come back out the other side. They get in no man's land down there. Branch has done the best job of anybody going baseline and shooting.
Rivers penetrating, comes off, the rebound by Worthy. Outlet pass to Black, here come the Tar Heels. Black to Doherty. And Perkins on the follow, charges for foul number 1 on him, and 17 fouls now against the Tar Heels. And we'll start the bonus here for Maryland with 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the first half.
Pretty big turnaround in that exchange. You have Doherty with a layup, misses. That's 2 down one way, and coming back the other way with a 1-and-1. Doherty just lost the handle on the catch. And there was a good call by the official with Perkins coming over Branch's back.
Adrian Branch, the free throw line. He's hit his last 3 out of 4 tonight.
He has a little extra twist in that motion of his.
Still a 6-point lead for North Carolina, 19-13. This is the Tar Heels' first test in the ACC this year. Came to an outstanding December, 9-0, playing a rugged schedule. Jordan goes down. Doherty drives and dishes to Perkins for the open shot. Kept alive by Worthy.
Oh, that was Jordan.
Perkins. And Jordan goes up and comes down, and it is tied. It'll be North Carolina's ball. Good fighting inside by Jordan and Atkins.
He can get off the ground. That time I thought, just looking out there, Jim, it seemed like that must have had to be Perkins' hand up there, but it was Michael Jordan coming from the outside.
Now sellout crowd here, 14,500. Full capacity at Cole Fieldhouse for this game.
Last night, of course, 3 Maryland players started for the New Jersey Nets, rather, and played extremely well. So 2 nights in a row, they've had a big Maryland day in Washington.
Great follow-up by Perkins for his 12th point. He's having an outstanding first half, 21-13. North Carolina now has scored 8 straight points since it was tied at 13 all. This is the biggest lead of the game. 2 minutes, 20 seconds to go first half. A timeout for Maryland. Boy, Atkins for a freshman. Pretty quick on the trigger to get that timeout.
Smart call there by Lefty, of course, because he can see the game kind of getting away from his club. 2:20 to go. He did not want to come down now and have somebody put up a bad shot. He wants to stay in this game through the halftime period.
8 points, the biggest lead. Lefty Drizel, who's won 427 games against Dean Smith, won 445. Watch Perkins.
There's Perkins. Of course, nobody blocking him out. He came in from the baseline side. No question. I said he takes some hard shots. That one wasn't a tough one for him at all.
We mentioned Maryland and Virginia. Of course, they lead the polls, Bill, at #1 and #2. Kentucky didn't slide that much after losing to North Carolina. DePaul and Missouri, you've seen the Blue Demons. And the second 5 and North
Whatsoever about shooting percentage and ability to go to the line, because guys, there are fellas that have high shooting percentages from the floor that aren't necessarily great pure shooters. Foul shooting is nothing but concentrating in great pure shooting technique. So you could be a great foul shooter and yet have a lousy percentage from the floor because you just can't get a shot off. That would be the case of a fellow like myself trying to play.
That's Morley in for the first time for Maryland. North Carolina in the zone, a 1-3-1 zone. They're just jumping out of trap a little bit, and now he picked up the dribble. Branch.
And of course, what Dean did is change his defense right there, knowing that Lefty was going to try to set up for something specific, make sure he got a good shot. I'd be thinking right here, the Lefty, unless he gets just what he wants, will hang on. Great play, and he got what he wanted. Branch on the baseline.
Baseline drive by freshman Adrian Branch. 21-15 breaks a long drought by Maryland. 8 straight points have been scored by North Carolina. Now they're in the zone.
That's right. Lefty goes into a zone of his own here.
First time tonight, isn't it?
And Dutch Morley in the ball game.
A lot of weak side passing, lobbed to Worthy, and now he hits Jordan. Michael Jordan pulled down by Perkins for the foul, gets the basket and the foul. Tremendous first half of offensive fireworks by Sam Perkins. That's his 14th point.
Of course, when you go the zone, you really take a chance with a guy like Perkins. Look at him slip inside. Bad job that time by Branch. He should have put a body on him. Perkins went right around him, got inside. Going to have an opportunity for the three-pointer.
Second foul against Herman Beal. 3-point play for Perkins would give him 15 points in this half, and he's only averaging 16 points a game on the season.
Jim Sam certainly be an All-American here. Our Pepsi halftime show today, a look into the past. The guy was a great All-American, University of North Carolina. Lee Shaffer played with the great Frank McGuire clubs.
He has a pretty good team in his own family.
That's right.
Here goes Morley breaking the press. Herman Beal clears it back to Morley. Now Branch.
Branch doing a good job out there in the first half.
I'm going to call an offensive foul. It was a good call. Branch used his arms to get a defensive player off him. Lefty isn't buying it at all. He's really hot. But Adrian Branch picks up his 3rd personal foul.
Jim, he tried to split the double team. Nobody came to help him on it. He's going to have to sit down because Lefty doesn't want him to pick up that 4th one with just a minute to go.
Taylor Baldwin coming in. Lefty is still shouting at the officials. Well, at the conclusion of this game, McDonald's will present a plaque to the outstanding player for each team selected by the announcers. In addition, McDonald's is pleased to make a contribution of $1,500 to the member institutions under an approved plan of the Atlantic Coast Conference. 1 minute to go in the half. 9-point lead by North Carolina, their biggest, 24-15. Back to the man-for-man. Jimmy Black, top of the circle.
Excellent play by Perkins, realizing he was being double-teamed. Dean Smith would like to see Black shoot more. Of course, he didn't pass up that easy opportunity.
Well, it's been a crucial 5 minutes for the University of Maryland. 5 minutes to go in this half. They trailed by only 4 points. Now they're down by 11, 26-15 with 30 seconds to go in the half.
North Carolina stays this time in a 2-1-2 zone. They've thrown about 6 or 7 defenses at Maryland here in the first half.
20 seconds to go. Maryland might just take one shot at it here, try to cut it to 9 to ensure they don't trail by more than 11 at the half.
It's a smart play by Maryland. They've done a good job here in the first half. Didn't get blown out.
Blocked out by Doherty.
Let's see what happens right now. Here Dean Smith puts in 2 much bigger players. Doesn't want Worthy to pick up a cheap foul. Wants some size in there to make sure that on the missed shot, he's got the best rebounding potential to stop that tap in.
Rust and Barlow are in.
Atkins got to go for it.
There's Atkins firing off balance.
Oh, hit it.
Had it all the way. Jeff Atkins hits just ahead of the buzzer. And Maryland has cut it to 9 on an exciting play to end the first half of our opening. We'll have the ball possession. They're trailing here as we go to the second half by 9 points. It's 26-17 in favor of North Carolina. Man-for-man matchup of the Tar Heels. Jackson and backcourt with Jeff Atkins for Maryland. Pittman, Veal, and Branch on the front line. We'll get the North Carolina lineup for in a moment.
Tim Jackson really had a good first half. He made both of the shots that he attempted and did a good job on Jordan, holding him scoreless.
They also picked up 3 personal fouls, which may be a big negative factor for Maryland at the hopes of closing down this margin. 26-17 North Carolina. Jimmy Black, Michael Jordan, backcourt for North Carolina. Matt Doherty, Perkins, Worthy front line, stolen away by Black. Here comes Black on the first fast break for North Carolina against Jackson.
Beautiful pass.
Back to Worthy for the layup and a foul. Beautiful teamwork on the fast break, and North Carolina, just like that, goes back to an 11-point lead.
Jim, those were great touch passes inside on the fast break that time. Knowing the man's coming. This is a very intelligent basketball team. See it right now. I thought Jimmy Black was going to try to go all the way. Hits Doherty. Look at that touch pass backwards on over there to Worthy. Got hit in the head. Made a heck of a shot there with his left hand. He and Perkins can use that left hand. Perkins, of course, is a left-hander, and there's Michael Jordan with that leaping ability.
Jordan on the follow with his first field goal tonight, and North Carolina spurted to a 13-point lead here to start the second half.
Lefty does not like to have a ball club be out rebounded, and here's North Carolina going on a blitz.
Jimmy Black tried behind his ear, and it's picked off by Pittman, and this will be an open layup here for Branch.
Very bad play by Jimmy Black, and also a mental lapse by the North Carolina players, not realizing somebody was behind him. There was no need to go down court without somebody back there for safety reserve.
30-19. Maryland cuts it back to 11. We are a minute and 15 seconds in the second half. Worthy gets it out of danger to Doherty, penetrating Doherty. North Carolina, very great discipline on their shots. Good fake by Perkins. Fade inside beautifully to Jordan.
Jordan didn't do much in the first half, but he's off running here in the second half.
32-19. Problems for Lefty Drizel, the veteran coach for Maryland. This team now in a position where it might really fall off the pace. A foul by Worthy, who tried to break it up, will be the third on James Worthy.
Worthy a little upset with himself. He's been in foul trouble in some of the early ball games this year. He came from behind trying to do a little bit more defensively than he was in a position to get away with.
First in the second half.
Lefty wanting his club to close this gap, but instead it's getting away from him. And of course, when you get in a game like this, as low scoring as it is, Jim, a 5 or 6 point lead is like a 10 to 12 point lead because you're not in a run shoot atmosphere.
We're 2 minutes into the second half, and North Carolina leads by 13. Now they're in a zone. This is from the inbounds play. We'll see how long they stick to it.
2-1-2 with Perkins playing in the middle. North Carolina basically plays 2 zones, a 1-3-1 set, and then this 2-1-2.
Atkins on the outside. Oh, this kid's a great pure shooter. Remember, he made the one he made to end the first half. 32-21, North Carolina. Our Heels going for the 10th straight victory of the season. Maryland 7-3, but they've been walloped their last couple of times out.
Look at the screens inside. Lefty's wanting it, and Lefty did a heck of a job there. He saw the inside screens that Michael Jordan was setting. They were illegal. He brought it to the officials' attention, really got on their case, and they start looking inside and got it.
That'll be the second personal foul on Michael Jordan, and the second team foul against North Carolina. So Lefty knows there's one more than one card to play in this game.
And of course, Dean Smith on the other sideline, you can see him right there up off the bench. He's wanting to go ahead and get his point in.
That was a smart play by Adrian Branch. He was double-teamed and trapped on the sidelines, and he just bounced the ball off the knee of one of the defenders out of bounds. That'll give Maryland a chance to put the ball back and play on the pass in. Here goes Branch, taking it in, and he's fouled.
That could be James Worthy. He better watch it. He threw the ball back at the official.
And a technical. It was just called on Worthy. 4 fouls on
Dean
Worthy.
Smith is on the court. He's going to get one. He better be real careful. What happened? James Worthy fired the ball back at the official.
Now Dean Smith is upset.
Now, he'll protect his ball player anyway. He's hot anyway, but he's doing this also from the effect that he wants to protect his player. And also remember that last move that Lefty made down on the other end where he brought the attention on the block.
Well, Lefty's just standing down the other end enjoying the whole situation. I think the key thing here on that play was not the technical, but it was the 4th foul on James Worthy.
Oh, yeah, he's going to have to sit down. He's got 4 personals. Of course, that technical doesn't put him out of the ball game as his 5th. He's going to have to sit. He's really upset because he made a 2-handed chest pass right at the official. You watch Dean try to get in his ball game now the rest of the way.
32-21, 11-point lead by North Carolina. Right now, Maryland's got a chance to cut in that. They could come up with 3 points, possibly, without giving up possession. Branch will get a free throw on the technical, and then Maryland will have possession.
Branch really doing a job offensively out here tonight. He has not done a good job blocking out defensively, but on the offensive end, he's taken the ball at baseline really well.
He really hasn't been that effective at the free throw line. That's only 3 out of 6.
Morley coming in here to making sure which one of the technicals and which one of the personals, because I think Morley's probably going to be the guy selected for the technical foul.
Branch getting 2 free throws, being fouled for the shot, and now Dutch Morley will shoot the technical free throw. Morley, who's an excellent free throw last year, hasn't been up that many times this year. He's 4 for 4, and now he's 5 for 5. Well, he's got a great percentage, but not many trips. So it could be a 4-point play now. They've gotten 2 points on the free throws. That'll be Maryland's ball possession. They cut the lead to 9. Here goes Branch, slipping by 1 man. North Carolina playing. There goes Branch out of the corner.
He really has brought the crowd back into the ball game and really doing a good job. I think that the North Carolina players were mystified a little bit the fact that Branch went and put that shot up.
7-point lead by North Carolina. Maryland has trimmed 6 points over the Tar Heels' big lead here in about a minute. A lot of time to go. Perkins will down his man, and he is fouled on the play. Foul will be against Baldwin.
You can see what scouting does right there. Baldwin realizing Perkins wanting to use that left hand. Look at how much he overplayed him so he couldn't use the left hand coming back. Perkins, being a smart player, just wheeled to the inside for the shot.
Perkins having an outstanding game.
Jim, that's really a 2-man defensive job. If you're going to have Baldwin overplaying so much to prevent Perkins from using the left hand, the guys from the other side of the court have got to come down on the baseline to take away what is a very easy move for him inside.
16 points for Perkins, which equals his season average per game. Now we have 17 minutes to go in this one. Perfect at the line. They cut 5 in a row. 34-25. North Carolina back up by 9. Morley needing up out of backcourt. Gets to Jeff Atkins. Stolen away by Black. Black lobs it to Jordan.
Excellent pass by Jimmy Black. He realizes the tremendous athletic talent of Jordan, so he just laid it up in the air.
And North Carolina now padding its lead again. Back up to 11. 36-25. Pressure, double teaming defense on. Baldwin feeds inside. Atkins batted away. North Carolina 2-on-1. They got Jordan on the left side. Jordan can't handle it. Fumbled out of bounds, and credit Dutch Morley's defense.
Dutch Morley kept coming. It would have taken quite a bit of concentration for Jordan to catch that ball.
16 minutes, 22 seconds to go. End the game, and Maryland wants timeout. So with a score, Maryland 25, North Carolina 36. We'll have more. Big play, as you saw Black do it there defensively. 36-25, and North Carolina's up by 11. Reggie Jackson being hawked here by Doherty.
Picked up the dribble, Jim. Now there's Jordan. He wasn't quite over in position to go ahead and overplay Branch, but as time goes on, the freshman will learn his role there.
A sticky man for man, although they don't expect Jackson to take the long shot, so they sag back to clog the middle when Jackson has the ball deep.
Fans asking the Maryland players to put the shots up, but they've got to be patient because they don't have a lot of great one-on-one players this year.
They need the good shot. There's Atkins. He may be the best shooter on the team.
Jim, what he's going to see as time goes on, guys are going to get right in his face because he does not put the ball on the floor well to go ahead and drive to the basket. So they're going to take away that little one-handed jump shot of his.
9-point lead by North Carolina. He had a great career scoring in Virginia high school circles. Lefty really exhorting his team now. Jimmy Black drives inside. Baldwin's got it for Maryland. Here come the Terps. A chance to get back within 7. Still over 15 minutes to go. Atkins draws the foul from Black. Well, it's a good fake by Atkins, and Black was hopeless.
I said he'd get in his face, but not quite that way. They're going to force Atkins to put the ball on the floor, and players around the league second time, you can expect to see this. Jimmy Black right there was going to come out on him quickly, force Atkins to put the ball down the floor. I think he should have got a two-shotter. Let's see that.
Nope, it's just going to be out of bounds. Nothing flagrant, I guess, or intentional.
No, I didn't mean it that way. I meant he was trying to get the shot off. Almost had the release up.
This is Herman Beal now looking for help. Pressure man-for-man defense by North Carolina. Atkins picked up his dribble. Branch now double teamed in the corner. Branch comes out of there, feeds on a great pass to Beal.
Adrian Branch's ability to hang up there in the air made that play.
36-29 for the second time. Maryland moves within 7 after trailing by 13. A little under 15 minutes remaining in the game. Man-for-man, aggressive defense being played by Maryland. Perkins fires over Baldwin. Perkins continues his spectacular shooting night for North Carolina. 38-29, up by 9 go the Heels.
Remember, Worthy sitting on the bench with 4 fouls that Dean Smith will probably keep him there for quite some time if he can keep a working margin.
Chris Brush, Jeff Atkins, driving shot. And it'll be down with the ball, Perkins.
There was a case again, Jim. North Carolina going to force Atkins to put the ball on the floor and have to go to the baseline or drive inside. Passing game offense.
Yep, Atkins looks like he needs a rest, Bill. 38-29, 14 minutes to go. North Carolina by 9. Well, they shift gears so quickly. They'll play racehorse and they'll come back with a patient passing game. Really working Maryland's defense right here.
Looking for Sam Perkins.
Yep, there he goes. Little short hook.
Baldwin hit him. Baldwin's almost exhausted out there right now. He's been working hard to try to keep the ball away from Perkins. Watch him bend over and grab his pants. He is tired.
That's a certain tip-off. Second foul by Taylor Baldwin. Well, he was born in Bombay, India. If you've ever been over there, you come to a climate like this, you freeze to death.
Well, he was working hard and is working hard all night. Has been all night working hard. But Sam Perkins is such a methodical, great player. He just takes his time. This fella has the whole package.
19 points. Perkins will be going for his 20th here of the game. Oh, he's been like a machine tonight. At the line, he's 6 for 6. Has 7 field goals. What was he at the half?
He had himself 7 rebounds, 15 points.
6 for 10.
3 for 3 from the line.
So he must be 7 for 11. Well, maybe he's 7 for 12 at the very worst. 40-29.
There's the full court trap with Braddock and Black back there now. I would imagine people who watch North Carolina for the first time say, gee, they're not really playing much defense. They don't realize all the weak side help that comes out there. They play excellent defense. You can tell that by the scores of the game.
Well, and all the changing defenses, Bill, I think keeps you off stride more than anything. Final scores, Wake Forest 44, Johns Hopkins 21, and Duke defeated Rutgers 28-15. Somebody was holding it. Big win for Duke.
A very good win. Rutgers has played extremely well this year. They're the only club that had beaten St. John's. Of course, they gave North Carolina a good ball game for the first half. Well, Tommy Young, a former...
wait a minute, Bill. They're not final scores. These games still in progress in the second half.
Thank goodness that 15 points is not all that Rutgers got. Tommy Young, the coach at Rutgers, a former Maryland alumnus. Outstanding coach up there.
And also coached here, I think, with Bud Milliken. 40-29 the score, 11-point lead by North Carolina. They've led by 13 a couple of times. A score here would give them a 13-point lead once more.
Jimmy Black setting pretty close to an illegal screen for Bruss that time. North Carolina coming out of their box offense.
Now they got Perkins posted low. Good fake by Doherty. Dishes to Perkins. Batted away by Atkins. Made a gallant effort to save the ball. And luckily he isn't hurt.
Jim, I made an appraisal on Atkins saying that they're going to force him to drive, something that I think that people will do to Doherty as the year goes on. He likes to drive, but then always dish off as opposed to putting the shot up, and people will start planning for the pass as opposed to the shot. You have to have that threat of the shot to keep the defense honest.
Doherty to Perkins and close. Forget it. Perkins having an outstanding night. 23 points. 42-29. Again, North Carolina's matched its biggest lead. 13 points. Jackson palmed it over and carried it. A turnover to North Carolina.
And a good job by Michael Jordan defensively on Jackson to prevent him from being able to go inside.
12 minutes and 19 seconds to go. North Carolina moving into Strong command once more of the scoreboard, leading 42-29. And in possession, Chris Brust still on the floor in place of James Worthy, who's set down with 4 personal fouls. Zone defense,
Yep, zone defense by Maryland. Lefty Giselle trying to stop Perkins some way, put Pittman back into the game, and went into his zone trying to get a little help inside.
Let's see if they go outside with Jordan or Black. Doherty driving across for his right hand.
There's the shot. That keeps the defense honest.
First basket by Matt Doherty. 44-29. Biggest lead by North Carolina. And Lefty says hold it again. So another timeout for Maryland with 11:47 to go in the game. And with the score, North Carolina 44, Maryland 29. Let's pause for these messages.
In that backcourt offensively. But this is a different type of North Carolina team.
Foul in backcourt. That's going to be on Michael Jordan. His 3rd personal foul. Immediately following this game, over most of these stations, you'll see Notre Dame versus 2nd-ranked University of Virginia. Sampson, player of the year last year. That'll be most of these stations here on the Metro Sports Network.
And the way this game's going, it looks like North Carolina is going to win, and it should be an interesting game for Virginia tonight. I think Digger Phelps probably sets up as good a game strategy as any coach in the country to beat a specific team, so Virginia will have their hands full. But that would set up a matchup if they were to win, with number 1 and 2 going against each other Saturday.
Term Herman Field on the turnover. Michael Jordan's got it for North Carolina. 44-29. The Tar Heels, number 1 in the country, leading, and Virginia ranked number 2, coming up against Notre Dame. Quite an evening of basketball.
Dean Smith has kept James Worthy on that bench with the 4 fouls for quite some time.
Oh, he's so good at this passing game. He can eat up a lot of clock if that's what he wishes to do, Bill.
Well, I think now they're just looking for the high percentage shot.
That means
Jackson
Perkins somewhere around.
Yeah, Jackson doing a real job on Jordan, as opposed to when Atkins was on him. Jordan kind of broke loose there in the start of the first half. There he goes, and good job again by Jackson.
Batted away. Maryland's got it with a 3-on-2. Brass keeps it on the left side, and he's cut off. You got to get the ball back to the middle.
Good job by Doherty defensively that time. Realizing he didn't have help, he really protected the baseline well.
Inside pass intended for Branch, picked off. They lob it to Doherty, and beautiful pass back to Black. Boy, Doherty just made a clever pass, realizing that Atkins was there to intercept or block.
Total unselfish attitude on the ball club, obviously.
17-point lead. This is the biggest lead yet by North Carolina. Now they're moving away with 10 minutes to go. Jackson will not get the basket. Picks up his 4th foul. And now North Carolina maybe putting this one away, although we got a lot of time to go, 10 minutes. You saw Dean Smith give the signal there for the passing game, the motion, as he sends Jeb Barlow back in the lineup. He was a walk-on last year.
Doherty going to sit down. Really did a fine job out there. He and Black sit down, or he and Jordan sit down, and Black back here now directing an offense with Braddock.
Man-for-man pressure by University of Maryland. Here goes Barlow against the freshman Branch.
Nobody forces up a tough shot.
Great discipline by North Carolina. It's one of their trademarks. 46-29, North Carolina leads. Chris Brust, good head fake, gets the baseline.
Jim, I think he fouled when he grabbed the arm trying to get that move inside, but got away with it. It was right down in the paint.
The lead builds to 19 points, 48-29, North Carolina. Maryland now getting into dire straits. Inside Pittman. One of the few moves we've seen out of him tonight. Only his first basket of the ball game. 48-31. Pittman has really been shut off by North Carolina's inside defense.
Atkins not going to be able to handle that quickness in the backcourt. Good job by Pittman.
That's a charge by Jimmy Black. 3rd foul on Black. That'll turn the ball over. A ball might have been in the air there. If so, well, let's see. We're not quite at the bonus. It's only the 16th foul, so it'll just be possession for Maryland. They're trailing by 17 points with 9 minutes to go. Dutch Morley will come in and give Reggie Jackson a little rest. He'll team with Steve Rivers in backcourt.
Jim, you notice how Dean Smith has changed his substitution philosophy. Remember when he used to put in 5 guys at a time, used to rest people. Now he rests guys. Now right here we have Jordan right back in the game with Doherty. They weren't out for much more than 30 seconds on the clock just to get that little breather. So he's changed his entire philosophy as to how he substitutes with this squad.
There goes Branch, driving, penetrating, hitting. Well, Branch does have some moves, but you can tell he made up his mind there to penetrate and shoot. 48-3, 15-point lead North Carolina, 8:35 remaining. Still man-for-man pressure by Maryland. Backdoor cut by Braddock, can't hold it. Walks.
How many times tonight have we seen a fella fumble a pass on a backdoor situation because you got to catch it first before you can make a play?
That's a tough catch, though, Bill.
Very tough catch. But that's the key. Catch the ball. If you can't get the shot, you can always bring it back outside.
48-33. That's the North Carolina lead. Here goes Rivers from the outside. Ball caroms out to Braddock. North Carolina on the move. Inside. Tip. Barlow draws.
Gonna get 2.
Foul. Great fake. Pittman was just hung in the air and had nowhere to go.
We talked about earlier. You want to put the shot when you realize you're going to be fouled. Put that shot up. Just pretend it. Obviously, it had no chance to go in, but he gets a 2-shot foul, and obviously he'd have been in a 1-on-1 situation. That would have been number 7, right, Jim?
Well, no, it was only the 4th against
Only the
Maryland.
4th. Okay, so he actually wouldn't have even gotten any shots, and this way he gets 2.
While he's producing his points, there's the first one, and now he gets the second one. Played at Lewisburg Junior College. Rebound stolen away by Jordan. Pittman couldn't handle it. Michael Jordan comes up with a loose ball. Matt Doherty driving with a good jump stop. Rebound by Baldwin. Maryland on the race, trailing by 16 points. There goes Branch again. Baseline stop. And Baldwin is there for the follow. First basket by Taylor Baldwin. 49-35. Maryland trailed by 19. They've cut it to 14. Down the middle, Braddock charges again.
Gets up in the air. Good job again by Taylor Baldwin.
So Maryland has cut off the inside driving, and that'll be the 7th foul. And now we'll go to the bonus for Maryland. So the Terps got to figure they're not out of it yet. With 7:35 to go, we're getting a timeout on the action with a score. North Carolina 49, Maryland 35. And let's pause for these messages.
Jim, I hadn't read that. Of course, he had that problem, and he's now probably going to redshirt and be able to come back next year because he did not, I don't believe, play enough basketball games.
I don't think they made that commitment, Bills. I understand they did make the surgery today on the knee. They say he may be out for 4 or 5 games, but it's going to be kind of a week-to-week proposition whether he comes back or not. But you may be right.
Totally unnecessary injury. I don't know if you realize it, but he was wide open. All he had to do is lay the ball in the basket. He went up for that little extra dunk and came down in an unusual position, and now obviously could be out for the year. You mentioned going down to Clemson to play. How would you like to go in there to play this week when they're going to invite back that national championship football team on that court? It'll be unbelievable, the crowd noise in that place.
All right, look at the second half shooting. Maryland shooting 72%. They're not even in the game at the moment.
Jim, here's the 4 corners. In a certain way, they started off and spread it, put Jimmy Black down in the middle. It's not 4 corners as they used to play.
It's a delay game, though.
Yep, it's a delay game. Black playing in the middle.
Looking for the back door. There it is, Doherty. Yep. Goodbye. Backdoor cut by Matt Doherty, and North Carolina now goes up 16 with 7 minutes to go at 51-35.
Everybody who's ever played well defensively against the 4 corners or any of its offshoots has to play solid man-to-man defense.
Great stuff inside by Pittman, and a beautiful pass from Morley. And there's an example of Morley's great gift of passing. Second basket by Pittman. Of course, he had to step into some shoes he didn't expect to fill. Buck,
well, he would have been the secondary rebounder, obviously, with Buck in there. Now he's got to be a primary rebounder. Quite a difference.
Played against Buck in high school. They were both high schoolers down at Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Went to different schools. 51-37. North Carolina up by 14. They've got it spread here, looking for the backdoor cut.
I can remember when North Carolina started that four corners business, and you had guys like Rusty Clark that they tried to keep away from the ball, protect him. But now they have all active players in the big lineup. Guys like Perkins and Worthy, they're not sitting out in the corner to protect them. If they get the ball, they can do something with it out there.
Well, not only they're a good percentage with the ball, but they're a threat with it. Doherty did a good job of retrieving the loose ball. Worthy's back in there with 4 fouls.
He almost took his one-on-one move right there.
Maryland sticking to straight man for man. It's about the only way you can defend this kind of a game. Brash trying to draw the foul, and Doherty almost got an open lane to the basket.
Maryland playing straight, tough man-to-man. You've got to stop your guy. There's not a lot of room to turn backs and double team because they have it spread out so much across the court that there's not room for that. Kind of a clear out now for Worthy.
Jordan is also very active, as is Perkins, in driving to the basket.
Worthy's looking to take Pittman one of these times with a dribble on the baseline.
North Carolina's up by 14 and running down the clock here with 5 minutes and 15 seconds to go. Tar Heels have a perfect record this year, 9-0, #1 in the nation. They haven't taken on that many weak sisters.
No, Jim, they've played a very tough schedule, both home and on the road. Talking about some good ball clubs that have top records. I saw Missouri play out on the West Coast. That's a very intelligent, talented basketball team that's also undefeated right now.
They still have Stepanovich as one of the best big men in the country a few years ago. And now they've called a foul. It's going to be charged, I think, to Branch. That was off the ball, and they caught Branch for holding. That'll be his 4th foul.
You notice how James Worthy gave the ball to the official that time? No two-handed chest pass. He carried it over there and put it in his lap.
Worthy is kind of a low-key guy, Bill.
Well, he is a very low-key guy. I think he was kind of upset with himself, and that two-handed chest pass, maybe for normal people, wouldn't have been too bad, but the way he throws it, it almost knocked the official over.
Pete Holbert coming in for the first time for Maryland. He's a good outside shooter, and since North Carolina has gone to a zone defense, that's kind of part of their strategy here. Once they go to the delay, they'll also play zone, force you shoot the long shot. So lefties come back with Pete Holbert in his lineup for Maryland.
And Jim, it's very tough defensively when you know you have to go out and play your guy nose to nose, so you wear out in a hurry on the defensive end.
53-37. North Carolina commanding lead.
And in the zone, 4.5 to go. Nice pass by Morley.
Doherty, there's Holbert, but North Carolina quickly open. They leave Dutch Morley open, and he jumps on it. Morley's first basket. He is noted as a shooter. And a wild pass, which Deansville, of course, didn't want.
Now, he didn't want the pass, but there again, Jordan, who's such an incredible athlete, Jimmy Black figured he'll get the ball if I throw it up there high enough, but Jordan took his eye off. That's about the 4th time tonight a guy has taken his eye off a pass. It would have been a tough catch, but could have been handled.
There goes Morley again. 2 in a row. Yep. Dutch Morley. Suddenly's turn shooter for Maryland. It's 53-41. So they've gone from 19 down to 12 with still 4 minutes to go. Doherty drives on Pittman, scores. He'll get a charge. Basket will count for Doherty. He'll also pick up personal foul number 3.
Doherty down on the floor.
Well, this got to give you a pause.
Well, remember last year he fell in a movie theater. Was out for a considerable period of time. Good call by the official. Boy, he really went down, hit the back of his spine.
Right on the base of his spine. He hurt his hand, wasn't it, last year, though, in the movie fall?
Thumb.
Yep.
Jim, some of the other places around the country where they're really playing some good basketball, the Southwest Conference is something that's got to be reckoned with. Texas, Abe Lemons has got them going. Arkansas got upset in the league. You've got Houston playing very well, and of course that Rice ball club that beat North Carolina State and did so well out in the Rainbow Classic.
Also beat San Francisco.
Right.
So it's 2 big wins for them. That's true. The Southwest Conference, you know, went to a tournament a few years ago, Bill, so maybe that's keyed them on. Well, right here at Cole Fieldhouse with a score, North Carolina 55, Maryland 41. Let's pause for these messages from your local station. Point lead, and less than 4 minutes to go, 3:58.
And Jim, remember that long pass by Jimmy Black before down there to Michael Jordan that was fumbled away. Normally with a spread where you're 3 up or 5 up, that pass obviously becomes a very bad pass. But when you have this kind of a working margin, it's the kind of thing that you might take a gamble on.
Bonus shot coming to Pittman. I think it points out very vividly the building job that faced Lefty this year, and you consider that Pittman was the leading scorer coming back from last year's team, and he averaged 5 points a game.
Oh, they lost about 75% of their total offensive output. Pittman and Veal, 2 starters in the first half, and the front line did not score. That shows a real problem of inside ability and punch.
North Carolina's basketball, they have a 13-point lead, 55-42. Tar Heels are winning the game. It has not been exactly a cakewalk here against a hard-fighting Maryland team. One that doesn't have the wealth of talent that it's had in the past. Played well tonight. Now they've spread it out. That's the old 4 corners here, Bill.
Yes, it is. And, of course, Jimmy Black has got too much quickness for Atkins. If he gets in there, look out for the...
Michael Jordan. Aren't many freshmen in the country better than that, huh? 57-42. Long one by Atkins. And there's Doherty to get it for North Carolina. Had Worthy open, didn't see him.
He didn't see him because he would have fired that ball for James Worthy.
57-42. Leads now 15 for North Carolina. There's a reach-in foul by Atkins.
Much too much quickness for Black on Atkins out there, so he's just trying to hang on.
Cannot come out and press him. North Carolina, though, will get a challenge in the league this year. Virginia, of course, second in the nation, still have Ralph Sampson, and a much different type ball club this year. Lamp's gone, Raker's gone, but they're quicker, Bill.
They are quicker. Their freshmen are blending in very nicely. They really haven't been tested that much so far this year with their schedule. Although I'll tell you what, playing a James Madison club is a very underrated team, well coached, and they've given Virginia a real rough time. Made it to, of course, the NCAA last year. But I'll be anxious to see how they do not only tonight, but also in that game Saturday.
And then, of course, NC State has already established itself as a definite challenger this year. And then don't overlook Clemson or Wake Forest, depending how Rogers might affect them by being out.
You notice how North Carolina now has put that zone way back inside the foul line.
Grant's a good penetration, but he got the shot blocked by Perkins. There's the time. Less than 3 minutes to go. North Carolina up 17, headed toward victory number 10 in a row.
The zone is really packed in. They're going to want Maryland to put that ball up outside, be in good position for rebounders. They'll give up that shot.
Branch and Torney controls. Loose ball goes out of bounds to Maryland. It's a tough week facing North Carolina, Bill, because not only they have Virginia coming up this weekend, but 1 week tonight they take on NC State. Another one of our television games. That could be a very pivotal game. Stolen away by Worthy. North Carolina comes up with another turnover with 2.5 minutes on the clock, and they're up by 17.
A dangerous pass by James Worthy to throw a bounce pass cross court underneath the other team's basket. Got away with it, though.
4 corner spread by North Carolina. Jimmy Black dishing off, looking for the backdoor cut.
He won it in 5 seconds.
Hurry, there it is. It'll be Maryland. No, it'll be North Carolina's ball. Alternate.
Jim, what was interesting there, Jimmy Black wanted the back door. It wasn't there, so rather than make the easy pass, maybe also, let's give him some credit, he might have realized that his ball club had their turn to take the ball out of bounds. So go ahead, rather than throw the ball away, accept the jump ball situation, because you're going to get it right back.
Well, I think Coach is already beginning to use that strategy, but I think the point you made earlier, let's watch Doherty here, that things are going to change, at least on that situation next year. I think they're going to give it the defense. Jordan inside, undercut foul, may get 2. Jordan went up for his 10th point of the second half and was fouled on the play by Pittman.
The kids in today's basketball go up so high. Look at this play by Jordan.
Let's see if they give him 2 shots. It was could be ruled an undercut.
I really didn't think Pittman undercut him, Jim. I thought that he got over there. He was trying to defend on the play. Michael Jordan just has that ability to go up so high. He's able to get the shot off. Let's see if they're going for 1 or 2. But I really don't think that was an undercut. One shot.
You're right. But I think next year, at least, Bill, when they tie somebody up with a 5-second call on jump ball, I think they will give it the defense, regardless of whose turn it is.
I believe so.
62-42. There's North Carolina's biggest lead, 20 points, with 2 minutes to go in the game. Another outstanding performance by the nation's #1 ranked team, University of North Carolina. And in come the substitutes. Buzz Peterson, a freshman from Nashville, is in. Jimmy Braddock returns, but leaves the front line intact. Doherty, Perkins, and Worthy, and now back in comes Jeff Barlow. Out will go Doherty. Brust comes in for Perkins, and Worthy's the only starter remaining on the court. And he's going to go out right now as Cecil Exum, the sophomore, comes on.
Jim, and Peterson, North Carolina had an outstanding recruit. He, of course, was out and lost an awful lot of valuable time. His team that puts in so much offense and defensively, if you miss that much practice time, you have a hard time readjusting. But he'll be an outstanding player there also.
There goes Jeff Atkins under pressure. Rebound tipped on the outside by Field. Couldn't control it. Now Braddock comes down for North Carolina with less than 2 minutes to go. 20-point lead for the Tar Heels.
Of course, they're right back into their offense now. This is not the delay game at all.
There goes Barlow down inside, hit the rim, and a loose ball picked off by Pittman.
That's why you should be able to shoot with both the right and the left hand. He's all a left hand and needed the right hand on that play, and it just wasn't there in his repertoire.
There goes Field spinning inside. Tough break, but Pittman puts it in. 7-point all in the second half by Charlie Pittman. Now a minute 20 to go. 18-point lead for North Carolina. There's a foul outside by Atkins. Atkins needs a breather too, Bill.
Yeah, he's tired. He's been going both ends. He's really not a quick kid. He's the kind of guy that maybe weights would help a great deal in the offseason to build him up, get his stamina up, and also give him some physical power.
Well, Metro Sports is happy to welcome a new station to the ACC Basketball Network, WRIP in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Well, they'll be watching Braddock here with some interest. He's a hometown boy from Chattanooga.
Atkins is battling.
Yep, back to Pete Holbert. He's a good shooter, remember. Little short. Rebound, Exum walks. Might be a little tightrope there along the baseline. 1 minute, 6 seconds to go in the game. North Carolina now has sewed up its 10th consecutive win. Veal is fouled on the play. This will send Veal to the free throw line.
Veal at the line.
Herman got off to a fine start this year. Led the ACC's rebounding in the early part of December. Second out of Ralph Sampson. He's 9.7. It's only his third point.
Of course, he was up against Worthy early in the ball game, Jim, and I think that it kind of shocked him a little bit when he went up against Worthy to see what physical talent he was in against, and he was shut out the entire first half.
All-out pressure by Maryland, and Exum now will get it across the line. Knocked down by Branch. And Peterson is loose.
That foul was
blocked upside by Pittman, put up by Barlow, and he's fouled with 43 seconds to go. Pittman blocked that shot.
Yes, sir. He got a piece of that. I don't know if it was goaltending or not. Awful close.
Well, the McDonald's player of the game from the University of North Carolina will be Sam Perkins, who was just outstanding with 23 points. And from the University of Maryland, freshman Adrian Branch. He'll wind up close to 20. Right now, he has 16. Congratulations to both.
On that occasion, Barlow, being left-handed, was in the right position to go ahead and get the shot off.
Fast break. Here comes Branch with 40 seconds to go. Branch on the inside collides with Barlow, who blocks him. First foul on Barlow, and Branch will go to the line. This time, we'd like to thank the staffs of these two fine universities for their assistance in tonight's telecast. University of North Carolina Athletic Director John Swafford, head basketball coach Dean Smith, and Sports Information Director Rick Brewer. And from the University of Maryland, Athletic Director Richard M. Dull, head basketball coach Charles G. Lefty Drizel, and Sports Information Director Jack Zane. Branch at the line. He was our player of the game for Maryland, and Sam Perkins for the University of North Carolina.
Tim, I think Adrian Branch is going to be quite a scoring machine before he gets out of the collegiate ranks. He has the ability to shoot from the outside, penetrates well. Might have to pick up his defensive structure and his total overall concept of the game, but he really can score.
I think his discipline will come along as he gets in the flow of ACC ball. He sometimes plays a little bit out of control. Veal inside puts up a shot again, and will have a jump ball situation. And of course, Maryland's ball.
This time now to be Maryland's ball because of the turn, although the North Carolina fella created a good defensive play.
33 seconds to go. There's the time, top of your screen. North Carolina's put this one from out of reach for Maryland, but Maryland still battling. Ball blocked out of bounds on Branch's drive.
And there is what I was talking about, his overall play. There really was nothing there. He's going out for the scoring right now, which of course you're trying to put the ball up quickly.
Jeff Adkins underhand flip, kept alive by Branch, but goes out of bounds. Touched last by North Carolina. Still be Maryland's ball. 23 seconds remaining. And there goes Morley. Morley connects his 7th point of this half. 20 seconds to go, and Maryland kills the clock. They'll have 1 timeout remaining with 20 seconds to go. Maryland wants to get it a little closer if possible. It is 64-50, and we'll be back with the first half statistics after these messages from your local station. That foul was on Dutch Morley. That'll send Cecil Exum will go to the line for North Carolina. 19 seconds to go. That play took only 1 second off the clock.
Jim, we don't have an update on that Rutgers-Duke score, but it'd be interesting to see that ball game or a replay of it if that was an accurate score at halftime, which we were given. Amazing to think of a college team only having 7 points at halftime, which was the case for Rutgers.
Well, judging the update, it's quite possible that's what it was. Jeff Adkins over his head.
Crazy shot.
Just trying to get the ball in the play. Exum fades it out. Here comes Linwood Robinson. Return pass to Exum. Scores with 4 seconds to go.
Double pump.
16-point lead.
Backcourt.
Stolen by Robinson. But that'll end the action. It's all over. North Carolina, the nation's #1 ranked team, wins impressively again. This time by 16 points over hard-fighting Maryland at Cole Fieldhouse before a sellout crowd of 14,500.